Hello everyone, I'm Joanne Smith and I play the Autoharp. In today's installment of the Autoharp Avenue podcast, I thought I would talk to you a little bit about melody playing techniques on the Autoharp. And playing melody on the Autoharp is not as difficult as it might first appear. There's an awful lot of strings on the front of one of these things, but finding a melody note and playing it cleanly so that you and your listeners can hear the melody is not nearly as difficult as you might think. So let's take a look at the Autoharp itself. And in the last podcast we talked about the difference between diatonic and chromatic autoharps. And the technique I'm going to show you today works well whether you have a diatonic harp or whether you have a chromatic one, because there are a lot of things that are basically the same no matter what kind of autoharp you have. This one right here happens to be a diatonic, but one thing that it shares in common with all autoharps is that there happens to be anywhere from 36 to 37 strings across the top, and they're all spaced about 1/4 of an inch apart. And that's going to be the same no matter what autoharp you pick up. The chord bars function in a manner in that they have little bars of felt, and I'm going to tip this up so that you can possibly see those little chunks of felt. When I push down on a chord bar, those chunks of felt press down on certain strings and keep them from ringing, while leaving other strings open so that they will ring. So when I push down on a chord bar, say let's do this chord right here, which is a C, and I strum all the way across, certain strings ring, but certain don't. See, so there are certain strings on there that won't even sound when you're strumming. There's only actually 3 notes in that C chord, which would be C, E, and G. And those are the only strings that are left open and ringing right now. So if I wanted to play a melody that used those 3 notes, all I would have to do is push down on this C chord button and aim for where I think those notes are. Just using one finger. And if I happen to miss hit just a little bit, I'll hit a dead wire. Now if I tried to do that without the benefit of the chord bar, let me take my thumb off of that button there and let's try it again. Not quite as easy. Let's try that again with the chord bar. You push down on the chord bar. Okay, so the chord bars act as bumpers, if you will. When you're going and aiming for it in the general vicinity of a string, that chord bar pushes down and locks out all the wrong strings so that you won't hear them. Now if you hit too much dead wire too often, then you'll hear that thwick thwick dead string kind of sound, and you want to avoid that. But that just comes with time and practice and accuracy and just getting to be very, very familiar with your instrument so that you know where those notes are. Now generally when someone wants to learn melody picking on the Autoharp, one of the first things that I show them is a technique called pinching, and it's exactly as it sounds. Now if you look at my right hand here, you'll see that I have 3 finger picks on 3 of my fingers, and I'm wearing a thumb pick. Now the type of picks that you choose to use, really it doesn't really matter. If it's comfortable for you and it gives you the type of sound that you're looking for, that's great. Go for it. I generally recommend at least the thumb pick and 2 finger picks. The third, I tend to use it a lot for high notes, but a lot of people I know do just fine with 2 finger picks and 1 thumb pick. Now, I will approach the subject of picks in another installment of the Autoharp Avenue, but in this one in particular, we're just talking about technique, how to play melody using the pinch technique. Now, pinching is just like it sounds. If you turn your fingers like this and pinch together like that, and then apply that to the Autoharp, I'm going to push down on a C chord and we'll see what happens just pinching with my thumb and forefinger. Here we go. Okay, so you're actually grabbing strings. You're just, okay. Now let's try a G chord. You can use either the thumb and the index finger, or the thumb and the middle finger, or you can use a combination of the two. The more fingers you use, of course, the more wire you're going to get with each pinch. Okay. So if I wanted to play something very simple like Mary Had a Little Lamb, I would take my index finger and my thumb, and we would try to aim for the melody note somewhere on this string bed. And after you've played for a little bit, you're going to get familiar with where the notes are on here, and you'll have a good idea of where to aim. And the chord bars will act as bumpers to keep the wrong strings out of the way for you and give you more room to find the right one. So here we go. Let's see. So there's just these 2 fingers pinching together and just aiming in the general vicinity of where the notes are. Now, you're not going to get it perfect the first time. That's where practice and patience and just keeping a good attitude will do wonders in helping you develop your melody picking technique. If you're not comfortable using the forefinger and the thumb, try the middle finger and the thumb. Works just as well. And another thing that you can do is vary the width of your pinches so that your pinches can be wide like this or very tiny. Now listen to the difference. That's with a very narrow pinch. Now let's widen it. So you can get a lot of different sounds just with this one technique. Okay, and that's the basics of melody picking and how most people start out when they're learning to play melody on the Autoharp. Give it a try. It's not all that hard, and I'll bet you can do it. So next time when we get together, we will refine those melody playing techniques and talk about hand positioning and refining that right hand and getting even tighter control and accuracy on your melody picking. So thank you for listening, and I'm glad you stopped by, and we'll see you again soon.